Islam is very good. I told you.
Islam knocks guys outstanding. He's so complete.
His fucking squeeze must goes, oh, dope.
I told you. Islam on another level.
Yep.
I love the chase. That's how you time to take that. I always take for the fun and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing.
In the world of UFC, where champions rise, man stands tall. Islam Makhachev. With fists of iron and a heart of gold, he's not just winning fights, he's making history.
Oliveira. Oh! Knocked out for Makhachev. On his finish line. Islam Makhachev submits Charles Oliveira to win the title.
At UFC 302, Makhachev tapped out Dustin Poirier, marking his 14th straight win. That's right, 14. He's now surpassed his legendary coach Khabib Nurmagomedov, who had 13 wins in a row. It's like watching a student become the master. And now, what's next for Makhachev? While it seems pretty cut and dry who Makhachev will defend his title against next, it's expected that he might face Tsarukyan, Holloway, and because he also said that he needs to move to the welterweight division. But for all that, we'll have to wait. But before we look too far ahead, let's rewind and dive into the battles that transformed this underdog into the disputed king of the lightweight jungle.
Dan's stepping up ahead here. Dan's got his hands locked. Oh, it's a jump. Oh my goodness. Islam Makhachev submits Dan Hooker in round 1.
Versus Chris Wade. For Islam Makhachev's first win of the 14 wins in a row came at UFC 94, where he fought Chris Wade. Wade wanted to get a win after losing his last fight on UFC Fight Night 87 to Rustam Khabilov via unanimous decision, which snapped his 4-fight winning streak to start his UFC career. But Makhachev was too good at wrestling and grappling. They rolled around on the mat, trying to pin each other down. Wade got on top a few times and hit Makhachev, but Makhachev kept trying chokeholds. In the third round, Wade's big left punch stunned Makhachev, but Makhachev kept fighting hard. After 15 minutes, all three judges said Makhachev won via unanimous decision. But this was just a start for what would be an incredible winning streak for Islam as the next fight. Versus Nik Lentz. In his second win streak fight, Makhachev beat Nik Lentz easily. Lentz had fought tough guys like Charles Oliveira and Chad Mendes before, but Makhachev controlled him the whole fight. Lentz tried a chokehold early, but Makhachev escaped. Makhachev took Lentz down over and over, staying on top. Lentz tried another choke but couldn't finish it. In the third round, Makhachev landed body kicks and head strikes when Lentz finally showed some offense, but Makhachev took him down again. With 90 seconds left, Makhachev unleashed punches that Lentz barely survived.
Yeah, Lentz, real good shots here. He's got the back, hard shots here. This could be it.
Two judges scored a 30-25 for the dominant Makhachev. After winning, the humble Makhachev jokingly called out Floyd Mayweather next, but he was joking about it and was feeling the momentum. His next fight versus Gleison Tibau. The fight between Islam Makhachev and Gleison Tibau took place on January 20th, 2018 at UFC 220 in Boston. Tibau had previously fought Makhachev's friend and training partner Khabib Nurmagomedov in 2012, giving Nurmagomedov one of the toughest tests of his career despite losing on the judges' scorecards. However, seeing Tibau was hurt badly from just that one punch, referee Dan Miragliotta stopped the fight at just 57 seconds into the first round, giving Makhachev the knockout victory, making it 3 wins in a row for him. But Islam was not yet done, and in his next fight versus Kajan Johnson. Around a minute into the fight, Makhachev attempted a high kick but missed. Both fighters circled looking for openings over the next 90 seconds, with Makhachev landing a body kick and avoiding Johnson's jab attempts. With 2 minutes remaining in the round, Makhachev closed the distance and briefly tied up Johnson, who broke free and landed a left hand over the top. Makhachev used this to get a double leg takedown. Once on the ground, Makhachev transitioned swiftly to a full mount and a minute left and landed short punches from the top. He didn't stay in mount long, instead switching to an armbar attempt on Johnson's right arm. Makhachev isolated the arm, fell to his side, and torqued the armbar until Johnson was forced to tap an armbar at the 4 minutes and 43 mark of the first round. Things were going well for Islam as this was his 4th straight win in his row, and for his next match versus Arman Tsarukyan. It was a grappling battle between the two fighters, with both having trouble finding traction early and slipping on the canvas. Makhachev couldn't get a takedown initially, but then pulled off an impressive foot sweep to gain mount position briefly. For every slick technique Makhachev showed, Tsarukyan was able to survive and counter. He threatened with a kimura attempt from the bottom in the second round to halt Makhachev's attack before getting back to his feet. Heading into the third and final round, Tsarukyan had one last chance to take control. However, the relentless grappling pace from Makhachev wore Tsarukyan down. Makhachev imitated his training partner Khabib Nurmagomedov's smothering style, mauling Tsarukyan against the fence.
Ankle lock possibly if Tsarukyan can create some space.
I just don't know if he's got the energy to push Makhachev off enough to get to that leg.
Despite Tsarukyan defensive grappling early on, Makhachev's unceasing attack and cardio allowed him to pull away late for what was likely a decision victory for him. Makhachev won a 3-round unanimous decision, and the contest earned both men a Fight of the Night bonus. Versus Davi Ramos. The first round was extremely slow-paced, with both fighters hesitant to engage. Makhachev landed the more effective strikes while Ramos looked to counter. Between rounds, Ramos's corner instructed him to be more aggressive and lead the exchanges rather than waiting on Makhachev. This led to Ramos having a little more output in the second round, but he reverted to being too passive after failing on a takedown attempt. While not outputting much himself, Makhachev started finding a home for his strikes whenever Ramos pressed forward. Late in the second, Makhachev landed a stiff jab that stunned Ramos and caused his nose to bleed. In the final round, Ramos came forward aggressively again, but Makhachev timed him perfectly. As Ramos rushed in, Makhachev clinched and landed a devastating knee that dropped Ramos. Makhachev pounced, looking for the finish after hurting Ramos badly with the knee strike, making him win after a unanimous decision. Versus Drew Dober. Makhachev, who received high praise from teammate Khabib Nurmagomedov beforehand, made the most of his main card opportunity with a dominant grappling display. Just 1 minute into the fight, Makhachev secured a takedown, dragging Dober to the mat. From there, the skilled grappler Makhachev applied constant pressure, advancing position and hunting for submissions. He nearly locked in an armbar from the mount before Dober was able to escape. Despite Dober's efforts to keep it standing in the second round, Makhachev quickly got another takedown and completely smothered his opponent with top control and ground and pound. In the third round, Makhachev finally found the opening he was looking for, locking in a tight arm triangle choke. Dober had no choice but to tap at 1 minute and 37 seconds of the final round, giving Makhachev the submission victory.
Look at the shoulder pressure though. Look at Dober's face.
Makhachev submits Drew Dober.
Versus Thiago Moises. Makhachev started strong on the feet, showcasing good combination striking and damaging body kicks. Despite that early striking success, his coaches insisted he shift focus to his elite wrestling. Surprisingly, Moises was able to get a takedown in the second round. However, Makhachev remained composed, quickly reversing position and taking Moises back. He advanced to mount, landed ground strikes, and nearly locked in an armbar before the round ended. With no success standing or on the ground, Moises continued shooting for takedowns in the third round, seemingly hoping to catch Makhachev in a submission. This nearly worked as Moises threatened a heel hook after Makhachev reversed his takedown attempt. By the fourth round, Makhachev had taken full control. He secured his own takedown, advanced to back mount, and finally locked in a fight-ending rear naked choke for the submission victory. Versus Dan Hooker. Makhachev wasted no time implementing his elite grappling against the striking specialist Hooker. Just 40 seconds into the fight, Makhachev secured a takedown and immediately took half-guard position. Though Makhachev initially looked to set up an arm triangle choke, the fence prevented him from fully locking it in. Hooker desperately tried to defend, tying up Makhachev's legs to stop him from taking full mount. However, Makhachev calmly transitioned to side control and began torquing for a kimura shoulder lock. With the kimura tightened and Hooker's arm dangerously extended behind his back, the New Zealander had no choice but to verbally submit before his arm snapped. The ultra-quick submission finish over a high-level opponent like Hooker announced Makhachev's arrival as a legitimate lightweight title threat.
Dan's got his hands locked. Oh, it's a drop. Oh my goodness.
Makhachev submits Dan Hooker in round 1.
Versus Bobby Green. Islam Makhachev had his good friend Khabib in his corner for this fight. At first, Bobby Green did a good job staying away from Makhachev's takedowns, but then Makhachev took Green down to the mat. Makhachev got on top in an amazing position called full mount. From there, He hit Green over and over with hard punches. Green tried to get away, but he could not escape Makhachev's punches. The referee saw Green was taking too many big punches without blocking, so the referee stopped the fight to protect Green from more punishment. Makhachev got the win by knockout in the first round. Versus Charles Oliveira. Islam Makhachev did not need much time to beat Charles Oliveira and became the new lightweight champion. This was a big win for the student of famous fighter Khabib Nurmagomedov. In the first round, Makhachev took Oliveira down to the mat with his wrestling. Then in the second round, Makhachev dropped Oliveira with strikes before locking in a tight arm triangle choke. Oliveira could not escape and had to tap out. Versus Alexander Volkanovski. In a thrilling clash at UFC 284 in Perth, lightweight champion Islam Makhachev faced his toughest test yet against featherweight king Alexander Volkanovski. The Australian underdog showcased his power early, staggering Makhachev with heavy punches, but the Russian's grappling prowess shone through, securing takedowns and back control. Volkanovski's resilience was on full display as he landed significant strikes throughout, even dropping Makhachev in the final round. Despite the crowd's fervor, Makhachev's wrestling and improved striking edged out a unanimous decision, cementing his status as the UFC's pound-for-pound best. Versus Alexander Volkanovski's second fight. In their highly anticipated rematch at UFC 294, Islam Makhachev left no doubt about his dominance. Stepping in on short notice, Alexander Volkanovski faced a relentless assault from the lightweight champ. Makhachev's kicks and strikes kept the Aussie reeling, but the true shocker came in the first round. With surgical precision, Makhachev's left high kick sailed over Volkanovski's guard, connecting flush and sending the featherweight king crashing to the canvas. Versus Dustin Poirier. In a gritty showdown at UFC Newark, Islam Makhachev extended his reign as lightweight king, submitting Dustin in the fifth round. Poirier, in his third title shot, fought valiantly, keeping Makhachev at bay and matching him on the feet. Despite a round one backtake, Poirier stayed composed, but Makhachev's relentless pursuit paid off with a sudden d'arc choke, putting Poirier out cold. The Louisianan's post-fight reveal of a partially torn ACL, broken nose, and rib, likely from a third-round takedown, underscores the brutal nature of their clash. Makhachev's 14th straight win cements his dominance in the division. What's next for Islam Makhachev? Fresh off his 14th straight win at UFC 302, Islam Makhachev isn't resting on his laurels. With the lightweight division firmly in his grasp, he set his sights on a historic double champ status. The Russian phenom is eyeing a showdown with welterweight king Leon Edwards, a challenge he's been vocal about for months. It's not just talk. Makhachev claims he's already tasted victory over Edwards in past training sessions. If true, this could add spice to an already enticing champion versus champion clash.